So today we're going to be looking at more round two options for the Giants. I already had a first video about this going over guys like Damon Arnett, Trayvon Diggs, Terrell Lewis, Kayvon Chason, and Julian Okwara. So if you missed that video, go ahead and check it out. I have, I think, four more guys for this potential number 36 overall pick. We'll dive into them, talk about if I like them or not, some background information, what they did in college, and all that type of stuff. So hopefully you guys enjoy this video, and let's get into it. So the first guy here is someone I've talked about before in a video talking about center options for the Giants next year. Tyler Biadasz, the center for Wisconsin. He's 6'4", 315, a three-year starter at Wisconsin. A big part of their rushing attack. We know Wisconsin is a very good rushing team with Jonathan Taylor at running back. He should be available at number 36. Some people have him in the second round, maybe third round, so he should be available. Of course, I can't predict the draft, but that's what people are saying at least. And he's an upgrade from the guys they have on the roster, obviously. John Halapio, Spencer Pulley. I think he's a big upgrade from those guys and a person that would be a very nice pick, number 36 overall. So as a player, he's definitely not the strongest, the fastest, most athletic player. What I'm saying is he's not a tremendous athlete, but he always gets the job done. When I watched him play, I probably watched 2 full games of him, maybe 3, and I loved it. I loved everything I saw there. I mean, he was rarely getting beat on plays. He's a really good run blocker. He's capable in the pass blocking game as well. So, as I said, rarely gets beat in pass protection. He looked flawless against Iowa. I watched that tape, and, they have guys like A.J. Epinesa there, so it's a pretty legitimate team there. And he looked really good against them, so I was very, thrilled to see that. He has good technique. I think he's pretty consistent as well. His feet move pretty great, or not pretty well, but not great is what I meant to say. So he does move pretty well, can get to the second level, but he's not like the fastest guy in the world, so you have to live with that. I think he's a pretty good second level blocker when he gets there. He definitely knows how to locate guys and square up his blocks. And, he pulled a lot in college. That's what they did at Wisconsin, where basically they just, go around to a different tackle spot and he finds a way to block in the run game. So I think to help Saquon Barkley, this would be a great pick to take Tyler Biadasz. There's other center options out there. Can't even think of them off the top of my head, but someone mentioned, I think, Matt Hennessy from, what college was it? Matt Hennessy from Temple, maybe, and I watched him. I wasn't too, impressed by him. I think Biadasz is the better prospect, so I'd probably go with him. And I think Hennessy's a good technique type guy, but I'm not sure he has the strength right now to, survive as a starter in the NFL in day one. But I think Tyler Biadasz is a, your plug and play, day one, not day one, but a day two option that can start day one in the NFL, or week one in the NFL, I should say. Up next is a player that a lot of Giants fans are enamored by. It's Chase Claypool, the wide receiver from Notre Dame, or the tight end from Notre Dame. We'll talk about that. So he's 6'4", 238, had a 4.42 40 time, which is pretty insane for a guy his size. So he went from 229 to 238 in just a span of 2 months or whatever it was. So I don't think a guy who's going to be a professional athlete just accidentally gains 9 pounds. I feel like you'd be much more aware of that. I mean, maybe the average person can gain 9 pounds and not realize it, but a guy in his position about to go to the NFL, I don't think you put on 9 pounds by accident. So, for me, I do think it's possible to leave the door open to say he might be a tight end in the NFL, so we have to include that. The Vincent Jackson comparison. So this is something that I've talked about before, and, I do think if you look at his numbers here, I'll put a tweet in here, I think it was by Evan Silva. He basically just compared Vincent Jackson's combine numbers to Chase Claypool, and they are scary similar. I didn't even know this, but when I saw that, I was even more convinced this guy could be the next Vincent Jackson. I do think they have the same number, too. I think Jackson was 83, so that has to factor in as well. So, is wide receiver a big need for the Giants? I personally don't think so. I know Golden Tate might be here for just another year. Sterling Shepard has his concussion issues. They just brought back Corey Coleman. You have Darius Slayton, that you hope takes a big step in year 2. So there's some good options here right now. Do they have a big future option outside of Slayton? I'm not sure. We're hoping Sterling Shepard can stay healthy because he's still pretty young, but we'll see how his concussion issues hold up. So I wouldn't call it a need right now, but we'll see. The Giants could do it. I personally would not take a wide receiver round 2, but we'll see because there's a lot of really good ones in this draft you can probably take in rounds 4 or 5. So as a player, just a very physical wide receiver. I think he's very good on the deep balls, contested catches. He's very good with that. Did have 13 touchdowns in 2019, so 1 touchdown per game. That was 13 games, so very good to see that. Can be a very good red zone option in the NFL. And people say he's a high character guy, so I mean, he had a great great year last year, over 1,000 yards, and didn't do too much before that, but when he was given a bigger role, had a very good 2019 season. So, I mean, Claypool is definitely an interesting guy. I personally feel he'd be better on another team. So, look, I don't think him and the Giants are a fit right now, but if he happened to fall to the third round where we have our comp pick, I think that'd be a fantastic value right there. But I would not take him at number 36 because I do think there are bigger needs on this team. Like if it was between the previous guy, Tyler Biadasz, or Chase Claypool, I'd probably take Biadasz because the Giants have a much bigger need at center right now. Up next is another guy that a lot of Giants fans want, Zack Baun, the outside linebacker from Wisconsin, who is 6'2", 238, had a 4.65 40 time. That's very good. 24 bench reps, pretty good as well, and 7-second 3-cone. So he's, had a great 2019 season, did not do too much before that, and I do have some concerns about him. Some people are in love with this guy, so let's talk about him as a player. So I do think he has a great motor, very persistent player. You see him, there was a play where he made a sack on the other side of the field. Like he came from one outside linebacker position and chased the quarterback all the way to the other side of the sideline. So that was impressive. He does have a good motor on him. He's a versatile player. I think he could do some stuff in pass coverage as well. He's not just strictly a pass rusher in my mind. He could do more. I do think in the NFL he might be more of a situational pass rusher type of guy, but it depends what team he goes to, obviously. Like if he went to a team like the Ravens or something like that, I think he could be a very effective starter, but it depends what system he goes to, because I think he benefited a lot from the system he was in at Wisconsin. I think they used him in the right way, so it depends which NFL team takes him and the way they use him as well. So I don't think he has a super high ceiling. I talked about guys like Julian Okwara, Terrell Lewis, even Kayvon Chason, who's probably going to go earlier, but those guys have ridiculous ceilings, and they could be NFL superstars. I don't see Zack Baun being a superstar in the NFL. I think Zack Baun can be a solid player, but I don't think he has the ceiling that those guys have. I think he's a safer pick than a Terrell Lewis. He's probably a safer pick than, trying to think who else, I think Epinesa is pretty safe, like a Yetur Gross Matos type guy, like something like that. A guy with a very high ceiling but didn't produce too well in college, so a Gross Matos or a Terrell Lewis type guy. So I think he's safer than them. So he did have sacks on very similar plays. It was just plays where he was going against offensive tackles that did not protect their outside shoulder. It was just him going around and just speed rushing and getting to the quarterback. He really didn't have too many inside moves, so I'm afraid that when he gets to the NFL, once these left tackles and right tackles are much better, he might not be able to do the same move over and over again and result in 12.5 sacks in a season. So that's a concern of mine. So I do think he has some good things to his game. He's very good at knocking down an offensive tackle's hands. I mean, sometimes they have bad hand placement in college, but when he knocks down their hands, he can get to the quarterback very easily. So I view him as a rotational pass rusher in the NFL. I said that before, so I could be wrong. It really depends what team he goes to. I think he's fine against the run, but I just don't think he's that physical freak that a Julian Okwara type is. So I could be wrong about this guy. I hope I am. He seems like a nice guy, so I hope he has a good NFL career, but he's the guy that I probably would not take at 36 because I always like to shoot for the upside more, but that's just the way I do it. So, we'll see what the Giants do. I think it's a realistic possibility because outside linebacker is somewhat of a need over here. They don't have an alpha pass rusher, and while I don't think Zack Baun will ever develop into an alpha pass rusher, he would help at the end of the day. So we'll see what he does. He did have a broken foot in 2018, so I included that in there as well. So I don't think he has much of an injury history. I don't think he only missed 7 games in the 2018 season. So, or not, he only played 7 games in the 2018 season. But the last 2 years, I think, played every game, so that's not much of a concern for me. So it's good to see he came back from that broken foot and played every game afterwards. So yeah, I mean, he's an interesting option for sure. I just don't think he has the ceiling and the upside to take him at number 36 overall, in my opinion. So last we have Antoine Winfield Jr., the safety for Minnesota. So he's 5'9", 203, a 4.45 40 time, 36-inch vertical. His dad played in the NFL from 1999 to 2012. I remember him with the Vikings. I don't remember his first team because I was not watching the NFL back in 1999, but he did make a few Pro Bowls, so his dad had a very nice NFL career. This guy had 7 interceptions in 2019, which is really good. I don't know if that's sustainable in the NFL, but 7 interceptions definitely shows your your ball skills in a good way. So he's been a big riser in the draft. I think he's a guy who was probably supposed to go in like the 3rd, 4th round, probably just a few months ago. But he's been rising on people's boards, and rightfully so. I mean, people are seeing a lot of good things about him, and I can see why. I watched a lot of him yesterday, and I'm very impressed. I would love to have this guy on our team. I think he'd be a tremendous option at free safety because he's a type of modern day free safety that you would need, a type of guy that can just be a great ball hawk and just make big plays for you. So as a player, definitely loves football. Many people have talked about it. I think he has a passion for the game. It's probably installed by his father and all that type of stuff, but definitely loves football, so you like that. Ball hawk type safety, as I mentioned. I mean, I'm not saying this guy is the next like Earl Thomas type, but he could be. He just definitely has great instincts and just takes great angles to the ball, and I love it. Very high football IQ. Doesn't miss tackles very often. I think has a pretty good technique. He could wrap up a little better, but I think that can be, solved at the next level. He's a great center fielder. I mean, it's a baseball term basically, but just great at just getting balls in the air. If a quarterback wants to take a shot deep, you have to watch out for Antoine Winfield Jr. because he might be there to intercept it. Has leadership qualities. I mean, I'm only seeing that based off YouTube videos. He definitely shows a lot of like leadership qualities, so I could be wrong about that, but I believe he showed that. And did have some hamstring and foot injuries in 2017 and 2018. So he was injured the past few years, but then had a healthy 2019 season. So look, free safety is a pretty big need for this team, and I would absolutely love to take a shot on an Antoine Winfield Jr. type guy. I think he's going to be a really good player, depending on where he goes, obviously. But look, I mean, I don't know what their plans are, if it's going to be Julian Love or somebody else. They don't really have anybody else. So I kind of hope they take a shot on a free safety in the draft. I mean, Grant Delpit could fall. I don't think Xavier McKinney is going to fall to 36, but I guess it's possible. So Antoine Winfield Jr. might be there. I think he will be there. I don't want to say that and sound sure about it, but I think he should be there at 36. Depends if a team falls in love with him, obviously, but he should be there, and I think he'd be a really good option because this is the type of modern-day free safety that would really benefit the Giants' defense, and I would love this pick. So, with that being said, I mean, let me just say who I'd take. I mean, it's definitely between Biadasz and Antoine Winfield Jr. for me. I would probably not take Chase Claypool and I was going to say the other guy. Who's the other guy? I can't remember who I talked about at this point. Hold on. So it was Claypool, Zack Baun. So yeah, I wouldn't take Baun at 36. I told you that. So look, I mean, I'd probably go Winfield or Biadasz. I'd probably go with Biadasz. I mean, I think he's a bit safer due to the injury history. I know Biadasz does have a shoulder injury right now, but it's not too serious. I think it's like a shoulder sprain, so it's not that serious. And I just think the Giants have just too much of a need at center. I mean, if worst comes to worst, they could put Julian Love at free safety. I think he'll survive there. I don't know how great he'll be, but he could be fine. He should be better than Antoine Bethea. And I do think Winfield has a higher ceiling, but the Giants just have such a need at center right now that I do think Biadasz would make the most sense. I love what I saw on tape from him, so I would like to have a center, obviously, next year that's capable of being better than what John Jalapeno and Spencer Pulley were, so I would definitely take a Tyler Biadasz. So let me know who you guys like the most out of this group. Rank them for me. I feel like you guys will be completely opposite of me because Giants fans love Chase Claypool and Zack Baun, and rightfully so. I'm not hating on these guys. I just would not take them at 36. Based off the Giants roster and what their needs are and stuff like that. I'm not saying these guys are bad players. I do think Claypool is going to be pretty good in the NFL. I'm not sure about Baun, but it would not surprise me if he was effective as well. So I'd probably rank it right now: Biadasz, Winfield, Claypool, and then Baun. So let me know what you guys rank these people, and let me know for future videos like who I should look at in the second round. There are some people on my mind like AJ Epinesa I haven't talked about yet. Yetur Gross-Matos I haven't talked about yet. So there's people on my mind, but let me know who you guys think I should cover in the next video like this. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for watching.